things have been going okay since all this messy COVID stuff?
Yeah, it's been doing pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
They're treating us well here.
Okay, good. I'm glad to
We
hear.
have no complaints.
Good. What are you doing for fun, or what type of activities do they have you doing right now?
Playing bingo, and we're going to, Carrie sets us up with a lot of activities. I do go out with my son once in a while now. And my children come to see me, so I was happy over that.
How many children do you have?
7.
You have 7 children. Do you get to visit with your children fairly often?
I have a son that usually tries to see me every Saturday or Sunday morning. We all have rolls and coffee together. We let us out on the patio, and we really enjoy it.
That's nice. So, I'm assuming you have a number of grandchildren?
I have 11 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
Wow.
It's just too bad their grandfather couldn't stay with us and see the kids grow up like that. But things were different then.
Sure. How long ago did your husband pass?
About going on 4 years now.
4 years.
We were married 64 years.
64. Wow. That's incredible. What year did you get married?
1953.
Wow.
Yeah, I married my boss from the ordnance plant.
From the ordnance plant. Yeah, I've done a little bit of reading here. You work for the Cornhusker Army ammunition plant.
Sure did. 2 years there. And then we got married, and then went to Fremont, and then I went to work at Meade. We were both working at Meade.
Okay.
Then I come back to Grand Island. My husband took care of the children at night when I was on the night shift, and I went back to work at the ordnance plant again for another year.
So how many years total at the ordnance plant?
I was total of about 3 years here at the Grand Island ordnance plant and 1 year at Meade.
Okay. So tell me about the ordnance plant. What was it?
Rockets and bombs.
Rockets and bombs.
I'll tell you. It's a lot of work. You learn a lot there, I'll tell you.
So did that start in World War II?
No. Korean War and the Vietnam War.
Korean and Vietnam War. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what did you do when you were working there?
When I was working there, I put the black sticks into the head of the bombs, into the motor part. And then I had 2 sisters that worked in the place where they poured the TNT out of the kettles into the bombs. And I had 2 brother-in-laws that worked there, and then my husband had 3 brothers there, and I had 2 sister-in-laws there. So the stoners were quite a bit.
Wow.
We all worked there.
Wow. So wasn't that dangerous?
Yes, we did have one. When I come back from Fremont, we moved back here from Fremont, I went up to the line because some young girl had got sick. And they come and asked me if I would consider going back up to Building 11 to work. And I said, well, yeah. And they said, well, they're going to have to bring the other one down because she got powder poisoning. Well, poor little thing died from it.
What's powder poisoning?
Powder poisoning is these black sticks. They look like a pencil. But they're I don't know, they're not too terribly long. But there's 7 all around the top of that. And you had to put those sticks in there's a place for each one. And if they weren't put in right, they were rejected, and we had to and I got to be a relief girl, and I had to redo the tops of them then. Well, anyway, this one come down on the line. And somehow the line got a kink in it, and the bomb fell over. And and I'll tell you, this is just what our boss told us. He looked at us girls, and we were standing up on this ramp. There was about 6 of us all in the line, 6 of us. And he just turned to us girls, and he said, you girls get the hell off this line right now and get going. And boy, we took out of there, you wouldn't believe. We ran out of that building. But it just...
Wow.
It was an experience.
yeah, most of them good experiences.
I met a lot of nice people there, and we had some big guys from the up front. They would come down on the line, and on one girl they would start singing, and from the time they started, those to the 10, us girls would always singing, and they just stood there. They never said a word to us. They just let us sing all the time.
Really?
While we were working.
So help me understand, were there like different lines that you were manufacturing different parts?
There was 4 lines. There was 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then they had what they called a fuse line. But the fuse lines is the one that made that they would bring over. And you start at the very end of the front of the line, but they get them ready and send them up the line to building 10. And that's where they poured the head of the rock, the bottom of the rock. Then they would come on down to 11E, where I was, and we would put the little caps on and put the black, like a pencil of powder, and then we sell them up, and then they'd turn around and go to another girl, and she'd put a safety cap on. And then they would go to inspectors, and they would inspect them. Well, then I got the job that if they weren't exactly right, they'd pull them off the line and redo them, and they'd send them on down to a building called 11E. And that's where they packed them and shipped them out, and they got them out to building 18, and that's where they were loaded on the trucks and sent out.
How many people were working there when you were working?
Oh, golly. Oh, there would have to be way over 100 from line, building 2 to building 18.
So there were 18 different
It's about
buildings?
a mile apart on those lines, all buildings. That's about a mile apart. On the ramps where we had to go from one building to the next one, next rooms. When you would go to lunch, you couldn't run on the lines, you couldn't run on the ramps, and you walked fast because you had a half-hour lunch, and you ate, and you were back on that line and ready to go when your buzzer went off.
So how far was the place where you ate lunch from?
They said the lunchrooms and the cafeterias and our exchange rooms were about a mile from the liners.
How many hours a week would you work?
I worked Monday through, sometimes we had to work on Saturdays, but usually it was a full week every day. We changed shifts, midnight to 8, 4 to 12, and 3 to 11.
So
But they had 3 shifts going.
And did you work the midnight to 8 all the time?
We changed every month. I worked
Every
all
month.
3 shifts.
Okay. Was that tough getting used to?
Yes. Especially when I come back to Fremont and we had 4 little children there. My husband would come in and get home about 4 o'clock, well, I would take him to the neighbor lady. She was always a good friend of mine. She'd take care of the kids till my husband got off work. Then he'd come home. And now it's a 4 to 12 shift. My girl would pick me up, and there's 5 of us girls that all rode together every night.
The bombs and the missiles for one branch of the armed services, or was it for everybody?
Well, I'll tell you an experience I had is my brother-in-law was in Camera Bay or Vietnam, and he was a jet pilot. And I got a picture of him yet. And he's sitting on the wing of his plane. And when he said the other day that the bombs were from Grand Island, Nebraska, so he signed my name on a couple of the bombs before he dropped them. I said, "Oh, Wally, no." And he said, "Yes, I did. I signed your name on them." That kind of made me stop and think.
I'm guessing that was a pretty good paying job, wasn't it? That had to have been a pretty good paying job?
Not like it is today. $1 some an hour.
Is that what it was?
It's about $1.65 an hour is what we got.
Wow.
And that's what I worked for.
Thank you for letting me get a chance to meet you and talk to you.
Well, it's nice meeting you too, and thank you very much.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you. And thanks for being at Primrose. We appreciate it.